It was an unfortunate incident. There was a grave tragedy that happened. Some people slipped and fell. 11 people have unfortunately passed.
33 ಜನರು ನೋವಿಗೆ ಒಳಪಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
There are various injured.
33 ಜನ.
33 of them have been injured and are receiving treatment in hospital.
Bowring hospitalಗೆ
I visited the Bowring Hospital
ವೈದೇಹಿ
as well as the Vaidehi Hospital.
ಭೇಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ.
I went there and visited the injured.
ಈ ಸಂಭ್ರಮ ಆಚರಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಾಗ
during this terrible time,
ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ದುರಂತ ನಡಿಬಾರ್ದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಬಹಳ ದುಃಖವನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ.
The government expresses its deep grief at this unfortunate turn of events.
ನಮ್ಮ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆಗೂ ಮೀರಿ
somehow beyond our oversight and preparation,
ಜನ ಅಭಿಮಾನಿಗಳು,
the fans of the team,
ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ಸುಮಾರು 1 ಲಕ್ಷಕ್ಕೂ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ
they had gathered outside the Vidhan Saudha. There were more than 1 lakh of them.
ವಿಧಾನಸೌಧದ ಮುಂದೆ ನಡೆದಂಥ ಸಮಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ
in the event or the function that happened
ಯಾವುದೇ
in front of the Vidhan Saudha,
ಘಟನೆ ನಡೆದಿಲ್ಲ.
there was no
ದುರಂತ ನಡೆದಿಲ್ಲ.
unfortunate tragedy or incident that happened there.
ಆದರೆ ಚಿನ್ನಸ್ವಾಮಿ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ದುರಂತ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ಇದನ್ನ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
Nobody expected this kind of crowd to come on the field.
ನಾವು ಕೂಡ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ
An unexpected crowd. Even the government did not estimate the kind of crowd.
ಕಾರಣ ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ 35,000 ಜನ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಸನ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು.
The cricket stadium has the size of around 30, can occupy around 32,000 people.
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್ ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಚಿನ್ನಸ್ವಾಮಿ
Specifically talking about how the Chinnaswamy Stadium can accommodate 32,000
ಆಸನಗಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ
people in full capacity.
ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂ ಅದು. ಆದ್ರೆ 2-3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
The number of people who actually turned up at the Chinnaswamy Stadium was close to 250 lakhs.
2-3 ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿನ್ನೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ನಡೆದಿರೋದು ಸಾಯಂಕಾಲ, ನಮಗೆ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು.
The match took place and the final took place last night, and we had information about the celebrations in the morning.
ಯಾರು ಕೂಡ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
It is beyond our expectation the kind of crowds and people who landed.
ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ.
We did not expect so many thousands of people to land up on the location, and the location being Chinnaswamy Stadium.
ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ.
We only thought that the stadium, that people who will come.
ಸ್ಟೇಡಿಯಂನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ನಿರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಇತ್ತು. ನಾನು ಸತ್ತ ಕುಟುಂಬದ ವಾರಸುದಾರರಿಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಜನ ಸತ್ತಿರೋರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಯುವ ಜನಾಂಗದವ್ರೆ, ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹೆಣ್ಮಕ್ಳು ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಗಂಡು ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರ ಕುಟುಂಬದ
11 people have lost their lives. And to the families of those who have lost their lives, we announce this compensation.
ಯಾರು ಗಾಯಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ,
those who have sustained injuries
ಕೂಡ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾನು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸೂಚನೆ
the
ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ.
government will take care of their medical facilities and their
ಖಾಸಗಿ
treatment.
ಆಸ್ಪತ್ರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಚಿಕಿತ್ಸೆ ಪಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ
All those who are admitted in private hospitals or government hospitals,
ಖರ್ಚನ್ನ ಸರ್ಕಾರನೇ ಭರಿಸ್ತದೆ.
the treatment will be borne by the state government.
ಬೌರಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಉಚಿತವಾದ
Those who are admitted in Cauvery hospital will get treatment free of cost.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಾಯಾಳುಗಳಿಗೆ
All those who have sustained
34
injuries,
ಜನ
all of them
ಅಂಕಿಅಂಶಗಳ
the government will support their medical treatment.
11 ಜನ ಸತ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಈ 33 ಜನರು ಕೂಡ ಅದೃಷ್ಟವಶಾತ್
11 people have lost their lives, but 33 people have suffered grievous injuries and are admitted in various hospitals.
ಕೆಲವರು ಔಟ್ ಪೇಷಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೊರಟೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
There were a few people who have sustained injuries,
ಅವರು
sought treatment as outpatient.
47 ಜನ.
If you count them as well, the number of people who sustained injuries is 47.
ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಇಂಜುರಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ ನನಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ ಮೇಲೆ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೇಂಜರ್.
Based on the briefing that the doctors have given me, all those who have sustained injuries, they are all out of danger for now.
ಆಮೇಲೆ
On a question whether there is anybody who is critical among the
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ
injured, the
ಬೇರೆ
chief
ರೀತಿ
minister said
ಎಲ್ಲ
no.
ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪೋರ್ಟೇಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಊಟದ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಎಲ್ಲನೂ ಕೂಡ ಸರ್ಕಾರನೇ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡ್ತದೆ.
They're taking care of the patients, be it their transportation or the food that is to be provided to these patients as well.
ಇದು ಒಂದು ಅನಿರೀಕ್ಷಿತ ದುರಂತ. ಯಾರು ಈ ಕಾಲ್ತುಳಿತದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಣ ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರ ಆತ್ಮಕ್ಕೆ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸಿಗಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ.
We pray and offer our deepest condolences to the people who have lost their lives in this unfortunate tragedy.
ಬಹಳ ಜನ ಯುವತಿಯರು
We offer our support to those families. Many of them are young men and women. Some of them are even students who have lost their lives in this. We offer our support to their families.
ಸೊ ವಾರಸುದಾರರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಪೋಷಕರಿಗೆ ಅವ್ರ ಸಾವಿನ ದುಃಖವನ್ನು ಭರಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಕೊಡಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ದೇವರಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾರ್ಥನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
The Chief Minister reiterates that they offer their condolences and prayers to the family to gain strength at this time, especially at the time of this tragedy.
ಆರ್ಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ.
We've also ordered an inquiry into this incident.
It is indeed a terrible evening in Bengaluru. You're listening to the Chief Minister, Mr. Siddaramaiah, who is briefing the details of the number of people killed. 11 people, unfortunately, all RCB fans who had turned up there. Over 1 lakh people had turned up at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, a stadium which has capacity of just over 30,000. Just 5,000 police personnel were on duty. And even as they were celebrating an IPL title victory, after 18 long years, tonight in Bengaluru city and all across Karnataka, there's going to be a sea of tears and a sea of mourning. 11 people dead, more than 30 injured, as a stampede broke inside the Chinnaswamy Stadium, where the team, the Royal Challengers Bangalore, the winners of the IPL title, were being felicitated by the State Cricket Association and by the state government. Like I said, over 1 lakh fans turned up at the stadium, which can hold only about 30,000 capacity, and there were just 5,000 police personnel to man these crowds. And despite the stampede and the deaths, the gala celebrations continued inside. Isn't that a brazen evasion of responsibility? Isn't going ahead with the celebrations tone deaf and insensitive to the families of those who lost their lives today? Should the state not be held accountable for these glaring lapses? Let's give you the different set of events that happened. It started off as a victory lap for the Royal Challengers Bengaluru. They touched down today at the HAL airport right in the heart of the city. Fans had been waiting loyally for them for the last 18 years to try and get a hold on the trophy. The Deputy Chief Minister also was there. Then you have the next set of visuals where the fans turned up in huge numbers. You heard from the Chief Minister a moment ago, more than 1 lakh people. There was poor crowd management. You can see just in the outside area of the Vidhan Sauda, in the road leading up to the stadium, there was virtually very little arrangements for the kind of crowds that were expected. And then, of course, videos soon started emerging of the police having to resort to lathi charge. Remember, these are fans who've come there to celebrate their team. Because of the excess number of crowds and the lack of crowd management, the police had to resort to lathi charge. This was happening outside the stadium, the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Altogether, what you heard from the Chief Minister, 11 lives have been lost. More than 50 people have suffered various kinds of injuries, both grave and minor injuries. This was a celebration. It took an extremely tragic turn. The injured fans, and you can see the next set of visuals, many of these injured fans, many of them being crushed under the weight of those who were following behind them. They were rushed out of these crowded areas. Policemen also were seen trying to help with unconscious patients, trying to get them to the hospital as quickly as possible. Another tragedy has struck in a place where we simply didn't have adequate crowd management capacity, crowd management facilities. More families like this lady and this gentleman, they are left distraught. What is even more striking is the fact that the fans continued to get trampled despite the celebrations continuing inside the Chinnaswamy Stadium, and that seemed utterly insensitive, utterly tone deaf. Who should be blamed for the loss of lives? Can the state evade the responsibility? There was a fan frenzy that happened at the RCB's victory. This is the Stampede timeline. This is what we know so far. The RCB's victory lap turned fatal. What essentially happened was for a stadium which has a capacity of about 30,000 people, more than 1 lakh turned up. The fans were allowed to enter the stadium, all of them without any registration, any passes. There were specific gates, gate number 3, gate number 10 and gate number 21, where you saw the maximum disruption, the maximum lack of crowd management, and the maximum casualties, in fact, were seen at these 3 gates, 3, 10 and 21. The 3 metro stations around the Chinnaswamy Stadium had to be shut as a result of that because of the sheer number of crowds who had turned up. The injured then subsequently were rushed primarily to 2 hospitals, the Bowring Hospital and the Vaidehi Hospital. The Karnataka Chief Minister also visited the injured at the hospital some time back. But some very, very basic and very glaring questions need to be asked of the state government, the authorities, the KSCA. Number 1, who's going to take responsibility for the death of these 11 cricket fans? Number 2, were there adequate security measures that were put in place by the local administration? Just 5,000 police personnel for a crowd of, as the Chief Minister said, in excess of 2 to 3 lakhs. Didn't the state apparatus predict such a large gathering for the event? Where were the intelligence sources? How come they didn't predict the number of people who were preparing to come for this event? Were enough police personnel, like I said, just 5,000 for a crowd of 2 to 3 lakh people who had gathered? How would they at all be able to control the booming crowds? Did the state apparatus also mismanage the entire felicitation event? Despite knowing that there were deaths outside, despite knowing that there was a stampede outside, why did they still go ahead with the event? How were thousands of fans, without passes, without any registration, without any online ticketing, how were they allowed to enter the stadium in the first place? Wasn't this a case of gross poor planning and mismanagement that led to the stampede? Also, lack of basic administrative preparedness, which the state should have seen. That if more than 1 lakh people are turning up, then the state should have had prior intimation regarding the same. Did the state administration lack the foresight to estimate that this number of crowd would turn up? And if they did they have adequate measures for crowd control? Were there enough ambulances, first aid kits, first aid responders, all other safety measures that you would normally take in a place where you expect large number of crowds? Were they deployed by the state government and the state authorities at the Chinnaswamy Stadium? I want to go across to our reporters and editors. Harish is now joining us live from the Chinnaswamy Stadium. Sudat Bharadwaj is also joining us from one of the hospitals. Rohini Swami will be joining us from the metro station, the closest MG Road metro station there. And Vivek Narayan is the managing editor of our Southern Channels. He's also joining us. But Harish, I want to come to you first. You know, this is a case of utter mismanagement. I mean, everybody knew that because the team had to wait for so long, more than a decade and a half, to win the trophy, there would be such a large crowd coming. How come the state and even the State Cricket Association, frankly, how come they did not prepare for this?
Absolutely. Zaka, a pertinent point to mention here is that just last night itself, crowd control was an issue. Although the match took place in Ahmedabad, several junctions in Bengaluru, people were sitting there, honking, partying. In fact, several junctions were blocked till 1 or 2 in the morning. So it was very clear that when the team reaches Bangalore, the frenzy will hit a new high. Just look at the situation here. This is gate number 7, one of the worst affected